Hello students, this is Nilofer Mees. Welcome to online teaching Silver Bells. Today we are going to continue the chapter 14 part 2. India location, geological structure and physiography 2. In the previous video we have completed half of the chapter and now in this video we will complete the chapter fully. So now be ready for the journey. Let's start it. So here our first point is Great Northern Plain. See the first point. This northern plain is located between the northern mountainous region and the southern peninsula. So where are these northern plain located? It is located between northern mountainous region and the southern peninsula. Hope you are very much clear about peninsula. Second point. This plain is formed due to the alluvial sediments brought by Himalayan rivers such as Satluj, Ganga and Brahmaputra. It is about how this plain is formed. So it is formed due to the alluvial sediments. From where these alluvial sediments are coming? These are coming through Himalayan rivers, and which are the Himalayan rivers named here? Those are Satluj, Ganga and Brahmaputra. At some places the layers of the sediments are about 50 meters thick. Due to this reason, these areas become much fertile. See now next point. In North India, these plains occupy very large area. These are known as the Great Plains of Northern India. It covers very large area. Its area is in north, that's why it is known as Great Plains of Northern India. Okay, it is already in the north direction. And how much long it is? So the plain is about 2400 kilometers long. The plain of this river, okay, the bank of this river is about 2400 kilometers long. Because of the length of this river, it is considered as one of the largest river plains of the world. Why? Because it is 2400 kilometers long. So if it is asked that where is the largest river plains of the world located? So what you have to write? In India. Such long river plains is never anywhere, only in India it is located. Its western part is narrower than the eastern part and the plain is almost a level land. Its western part means which part? The part which is in Gujarat, that is narrower than the eastern part. Eastern part means the part which is near Assam, that is broader than ours. So you have to remember where is the narrower part, so it is in the western, and where it is broader than it is in the eastern part. See, much ups and downs are not there, it is the level land. See now the next point. None of its part is higher than 180 meters above sea level. It means not a single part of it is higher than 180 meters above sea level. So all this plain area cover 180 meters, not more than that. Next point, the plain is very narrow near Delhi. It means when it is coming near Delhi, so it becomes narrower. Then the other point, the Satluj plain lies to the west of Delhi while the Ganga plain is in the east. So you have to remember that Satluj plain lies to the west of Delhi and towards the east of the Delhi, the Ganga plain is located. See now, this plain is considered to be the most prosperous region of India. So many other prosperous regions are there in India, but this is the most prosperous, most fertile and full of sediments. Which are they? Satluj towards west of Delhi and Ganga towards east of Delhi. See now, important cities such as Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Allahabad, Varanasi, Patna, Kolkata, etc. are situated in this plain. Because of they are situated on this plain, they are much prosperous, much populated and much facilitated. Sindhu River and its tributaries Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj originate in the Himalayas. So these rivers, where are they coming from? These all are coming from the Himalayas. These are the tributaries of Sindhu River, which you have to remember: Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. 5 names are there. You have to remember that which are the tributaries of Sindhu River. So these are the names, and where are they originated from? So these are originated from the Himalayas. Next point, generally a region between 2 rivers is called doab. Doab means what? Do means 2 and ab means water. But if we talk about 5 rivers, then what will we say? 5 means Panch and ab, Punjab. So if we talk about region between 2 rivers, then it is called doab. Thus the plain which is formed by 5 rivers is called Punjab, Panch plus ab. And most of this plain is in Pakistan. The names just I gave you, like Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj, they are in the Pakistan. Their most part is in Pakistan, and even half of the Punjab is also in the Pakistan. On the basis of physiography, the plain is divided into 4 parts. Okay, you have to remember this point. How many parts is the plain divided into? So the plain is divided into 4 parts on the basis of physiography. Now which are these 4 parts? So first one is Bhabar, second is Tarai, third one is Bangar and Khadar. Now we'll see one by one. So first question is, what is Bhabar? So very simple definition is given over here. A small and narrow belt of gravels and stones lies parallel to the river from Sindhu up to Tista river in Shivalik foothills. This Sindhu river comes from the Himalayas, and where it goes up to Tista river in Shivalik foothills. So when these rivers are floating, when these rivers are flowing over, so both the sides they carry gravels and stones with them. And through these stones and gravels, one belt is being made over there. This belt is almost 6 to 16 kilometers wide, and this belt is called Bhabar. You must have visited river banks. If you will see both the sides of the rivers, you will find these gravels and stones. There is a belt of these stones and gravels on the both sides of the river, both the banks of the river, and this is called Bhabar. It isn't much wide, but at least it is 8 to 16 kilometers wide. And these gravel and stones, these parallel lines of these things, the belt of it, it is known as Bhabar. Next is, what is Bangar? So the Terai region, which is more humid and marshy, comes next. See, it is more humid, okay, it is wet region. So in this Terai region, because of it is humid and marshy, dense forests are also there, and diversified wildlife are seen here. Because of the dense forest, there is wildlife also, different kind of wildlife. It means all type of animals which are wild. So these diversified wildlife are seen here. The old alluvium in the plains is called Bangar. Here old alluvium means the old sand. Okay, the old sand where it is in the plains over there is called Bangar. Now the next one is, what is Khadar? Due to consistent deposition, it develops a terrace shape which is at a higher level than floodplains. See, now river comes and with it comes so many other things, and it develops a terrace shape. It means when these rivers are there, the flood plains are there, higher level than that, it means it make a terrace shape around the river. River is, you can see the deep over, but around it there is a terrace shape. And when the flood comes, with the flood the new sediment comes. So the new sediments of the flood is called Khadar. When the flood comes in the river, this level which is the terrace shape, it is also filled with water. It is over flooded. and it comes with the new sediments. The water doesn't come alone, it comes with so many other things with it, especially the stones and gravels, and these new sediments of the flood is called khadar. Now the third point is Peninsular Plateau. This is the oldest region of India. So here till now we learned about plains, now we'll learn about plateau. Let's go towards the south. So this region, it means Peninsular Plateau, it is very old region of India. We can say the oldest region of India, and this region appears as an inverted triangle. It is triangle but inverted triangle. So in this South India, what is its average height? Its average height is about 600 to 900 meters. Its northern part slopes towards northeast, which is evident from the flow of Chambal, Son and Damodar rivers. It means the part of the South India which is in the north, it means northern part of South India, how it slopes? Its slope is towards northeast, from north to east. And what is the evidence of it? Evident here means what is the proof of it, that it is going towards north to east. So if we see the flow of these rivers, we got to know that it slopes towards northeast. These rivers Chambal, Son and Damodar. So this was about the northern part. If we see the southern part of it, then southern part slopes towards southeast, northern part towards northeast and southern part towards southeast. Most of its area is in south, hence it is called Southern Plateau. As it is surrounded by sea on its three sides, so what it would be called? It is called a peninsular plateau because it is covered by waters from three sides. Now have a look. Peninsular plateau can be divided into two parts. There are two parts of Peninsular Plateau. Which are they? So the first one is Malwa Plateau and second one is Deccan Plateau. So the first one, Malwa Plateau. What is Malwa Plateau? So Aravalli Range is situated to the northwest part of Malwa Plateau. So here northwest part, it means near our Gujarat. Okay, northwest part of Malwa Plateau. What it is there? So Aravalli Range is situated there. And Aravalli is one of the oldest ranges in the world. Okay, I am not talking about in the country. It is one of the oldest ranges in the world. It is fold mountain. So here the word comes fold. We have learnt this about this fold mountain in chapter 13. We have talked about how two plates came towards each other and how the convergence happened over there, and because of the convergence the mountains are coming out. Same like that, two plates here came nearby and as they pushed each other, so this Aravalli Range came out. And which is the famous hill station of this Aravalli Range? So that is Mount Abu. It is very nearby us. Mount Abu is the famous hill station of this range. It is very beautiful and pleasant. Hope you have visited it, as it is the nearest hill station of us. And see the last point, Guru Shikhar is its highest peak and it is 1722 meters high. You must have visited Guru Shikhar as you have visited Mount Abu. So you must have seen how much high it is. So this is Guru Shikhar. That's why the name is also like that, Guru Shikhar. It is highest peak and it is 1722 meters high. 1722, you have to remember it. It is the highest peak of Aravalli Range. Same like Mount Everest is the highest peak of Himalayas. When you will come towards the south of it, so to the south of this region, the rivers, which rivers are flowing over there? So Chambal and Betwa, emerging. Emerging means from where it starts flowing. So Chambal and Betwa emerging from Vindhyachal flow northwards and meet river Yamuna. It is coming from Vindhyachal mountain range. It comes from there and it flows northwards. It is not going south or it is not going west, but it is going northwards, and these rivers are meeting river Yamuna. If it is asked which rivers are meeting river Yamuna or which river meets river Yamuna, then you can say Chambal and Betwa. And from where it is emerging? So from Vindhyachal. While river Son flows northwards and meets river Ganga. Okay, river Son, it flows northwards and it meets river Ganga. So you have to keep in mind that these all rivers are flowing northwards only, but you have to remember that Chambal and Betwa meets river Yamuna, while Son river, it meets river Ganga. So as the river flows like that northwards, so it can be known from the direction of river flow that the region slopes northwards. The northeastern part of this central upland is known as Bundelkhand. Besides this, rivers Luni and Banas also originate in the Arvali range in northeast. So these two rivers, you have heard the name Banas river, and because of this river, our name of our district is Banaskantha. Okay, Banas name of the river and Kantha means here bank. So besides this, rivers Luni and Banas also originate in the Arvali range in northeast. These rivers vanish in the run of Kutch, while Sabarmati and Mahi rivers meet the Gulf of Khambat. Vanish means where it completes, okay, where it goes up to. So these rivers vanish in the run of Kutch, while Sabarmati and Mahi rivers meet the Gulf of Khambat. From the flow of these rivers, it can be ascertained, it means we can understand that the western part of Malwa Plateau slopes towards southwest. Then, Rajmahal Hills and Shillong Plateau are a part of Chota Nagpur Plateau. It means Chota Nagpur Plateau, in that these two plateaus are there, that one is Rajmahal Hills, the other one is Shillong Plateau, and which is also included by Ranchi Plateau. Now what is Deccan Plateau? So the Deccan Plateau is situated to the south of Satpura, Mahadev and Maikal ranges. Where it is situated to the south of Satpura, Mahadev and Maikal ranges. Three names are there which are located to the south of the Malwa Plateau. The northwestern parts of the plateau are composed of lava deposits. On the western side, its border is demarcated by Western Ghats, which runs north-south along the Arabian Sea coast. Now these Western Ghats has several local names. It is known as Sahyadri in Maharashtra and Karnataka, as Nilgiri in Tamil Nadu, as Annamalai and Cardamom ranges along the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The southern portion of Western Ghats is more lofty. We have learnt about the lofty in the previous video. Generally, the average height of Deccan Plateau ranges between 900 to 1000 meters, but at a few places it exceeds that height. Some isolated hills having more than 900 meters of height form the eastern boundary of this plateau, and this is called Eastern Ghats. It has a general slope towards southeast, which is evident from the direction of the flow of the rivers. Except rivers Narmada and Tapi, which flow westwards, most of the rivers of Deccan Plateau flow eastwards and meet the Bay of Bengal. With this point, you are completing our chapter. Learn these all points. If you are having any confusion, you may call me. Thank you. Have a good day. Stay home, stay safe.